All right, and we are live. So yesterday, markets took a breather from the post-election rally, and then today, a big day. CPI inflation data was released this morning, and yes, markets are reacting. So because the Fed's next move hangs on today's inflation data. Tomorrow we have PPI, and then on Friday we have more retail data coming in. We also have some more earnings trickling in, although earnings season is winding down, but we'll take a look at this. And then, yes, craziness in the cryptocurrency market. So as you can see, we have a lot to talk about. And with that said, welcome to Coffee with Markus and Mark. And today is Wednesday, November 13th. And in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. And Mark, yesterday, it seems that the rally started to fizzle out a little bit, the post-election rally, which has been the best since when? Forever?
The third best since 1928, I think it was.
Something like this.
But
Yeah.
hey, that's fantastic. No complaints. But yeah, at some point there has to be a pause, right? I mean, this just we shot up so fast, so quickly, without a real retracement. So slowing down a little bit this week would make sense. And we're up a tiny bit today after a bit of a dip, but it looks like a quiet session, and traders are looking for the next reason to make the market move.
Right. And so going into this morning, we see that at first we were trading lower. So looking at a 5-minute chart of the E-mini S&P, it looked like we would open lower around 0.3%. But then the CPI data was released. And at first it was fireworks. After this, a little bit of a pullback. And right now, as I said, trading slightly higher. I mean, overall, if you look at this, in the S&P, we're up 0.03%. In the Nasdaq, we're actually down, and in the Dow, we're up 0.3%.
Yeah, so some interesting movement pre-market. The report comes out an hour before U.S. markets open, and here we see the core CPI number that excludes food and energy came in line with expectations, with prices increasing 0.3%. CPI, that CPI number coming in line with expectations as well, 0.2%. Year over year, increasing a tiny bit from the last reading, up 2.6%, but also in line with expectations. And I think that investors like the report, even though we had that year over year creep up a little bit, because it supports the Fed cutting.
Right. So, I mean, this is where it is a slight uptick. As said, the previous month it was 2.4%. Now it is 2.6%. And this was expected. And it was mainly expected because a big factor in the CPI, in the Consumer Price Index, is prices for housing. They call it shelter. And I mean, no surprise, because if we look at the markets and if we look at the yields and see what happened here over the past month, in October, we see that the yields actually increased from 3.6% to 4.4%. I mean, this is a massive move. And with yields moving higher, it means that mortgages are moving higher. So therefore, no surprise that shelter costs are rising because, I mean, whether you're renting or you're buying, you're feeling it because mortgage rates are creeping up and landlords are increasing rents because of this. And if you are paying a mortgage or if you're refinancing your house, then you know that you are paying now a higher mortgage. So therefore, it was kind of expected. And this is why initially fireworks in the markets. I mean, really a nice big move. As we can see here, we can actually measure the percentage and see that this was a 0.6% move. Not too shabby.
Yeah, and good points there, Marcus. But I think that the key is in line with expectations all across the board. So no real surprise there. And the Fed funds futures are pointing to a higher likelihood now that the Fed will cut in December. It was leaning that way with about 2/3 or 65, 66% probability of a cut. Now we see after the report, it's now 82 4.5% probabilities.
Right. And we talked about it that traders, Fed funds futures traders, have been a little bit overreacting here to the new administration coming in and higher tariffs and I don't know what else, right? And that inflation could flare up. And therefore, last week, a little bit of a drop there and saying, the Fed might keep interest rates the same. But now that the data is coming in, and this is the data that the Fed is looking at. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Powell and gang, they're very happy with what they saw this morning and will say, okay, we can just continue on this path. And now Fed funds futures traders are also agreeing with them. Now, we still have a core PPI tomorrow,
True.
and then we have retail sales on Friday. So we have two more reports. And I said markets are waiting for the next impulse to go either way. I mean, markets don't like to be just in a narrow range. They like to either move higher or lower. Right now, it seems to be to the upside. It's the path of least resistance. But with the surprise in these numbers, we could see a little bit of a dip.
Still some wild cards out there this week, and we'll have to see what the reaction looks like.
Yeah. A little bit of earnings. We had Kava reporting earnings and still up 10% this morning, as high as 18%. So Kava now trading at 160. And I believe it was Shopify yesterday who reported earnings. And yesterday already jumped massively higher, 21%. Today up another 2%. So hanging in there. And Shopify does this mean that retail is still strong? That people are buying on Shopify? Or does it just mean that merchants are moving towards Shopify? What do you think?
Your guess is as good as mine. I didn't look into this one, so I'll just take the big move and say looks good.
All right. Well, the one thing that we know, you talked about it briefly yesterday, that Doge, the cryptocurrency, was on a tear. And look at this today, adding another 8%. And yesterday, we just mentioned it that, hey, crypto is going crazy here. And now I found the reason. Did you see why Dogecoin spiked so much?
Did it have to do with Elon?
It has to do with Elon and President-elect Trump, who yesterday announced the Department of Government Efficiency, short DOGE, which will be spearheaded by Elon Musk, or Elon Musk will be part of the Department of Government Efficiency. Anyhow, so long story short, it seems that traders, investors just saw Trump and Doge and said, oh, okay. Because, I mean, we know that President-elect Trump said that he likes the idea of the United States having some cryptocurrency. And this is where I think traders thought, oh my gosh, he's not suggesting that the US government should buy Bitcoin. He's now suggesting it should buy Doge. But this is not the case. It's just the newly founded, or not yet, I mean, it's planned, right? Department of Government Efficiency. Doesn't exist yet. Will it ever exist? We'll see. I mean, we'll know more in 2025.
Wasn't Dogecoin originally started kind of as a joke?
It was a joke, yeah. It was started as a joke. And I mean, right now I'm looking at the market capitalization, so that's the wrong one. So we should probably look at here where it is trading against the dollar. I mean, looks very, very similar. But yeah, if you go back in the day, it was trading at nothing. And then it was actually hyped up during the, what was it, the Wall Street Bets era, where it went to 45 cents from nothing. And now going back right up there from
the
what?
joke that keeps on giving.
It seems so. It seems so. All right. Well, let's take a look at our positions and see what's happening there. With markets at new all-time highs in terms of WTF, we have no new signals here, so nothing there. We don't have any exits. And right now, we are still in 4 positions. Not quite, but we have 4 open. We are in 3 combined, but a few I'm in and you're in and I'm not. One of them being AMT. So AMT, a position that you decided to take. I'm not in this one. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, and, I mean, it looks like it might have found some support around 196. I'm in at 200, so I would like to see this rally a bit here and give us an exit signal, but still in this one.
Yep. All right, and then we also have CEG. CEG is one that we both decided to skip because we did have a warning here in PowerX Optimizer. J&J, Johnson and Johnson. This is another one that you decided to trade.
Yeah, and this one, it's just kind of sitting there right above 152, so no exit yet.
No exit yet. Stop loss below, and then we are also both in Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola this morning came awfully close to our stop loss. So you can see our
It
stop loss
did.
at 62.43, and this morning we came as low as 62.49. So almost stopped out, but after this, Coca-Cola decided to reverse and is now trading at 63.07. Anyhow, we are
Yeah.
following our plan. We have our stop loss in the market, and let's see what happens there. And this is one where initially we had the entry at 67, now 67.07, and then we bought some more on a 5% dip. So right now, our cost base is at 65.55, currently trading at 63.07. So come on, Coca-Cola. Now you have found the support. You bounced off our stop loss without taking us out. So let's keep moving higher.
Ready to move.
Let's do this. Okay. Hopping over to the wheel, not much happening there. So this is where we're pretty much in the same pattern where we were. First of all, oops, let's just collapse this. CSIQ this morning up a little bit and has found some support at 12, hanging out between 12 and 13 here right now, ready to make the move. But we have talked about this over and over again. We expect it to probably hang out there for a little bit, but then start making a move here and hopefully go back towards our cost basis and or our break even. BP, let's see what is happening here with BP and crude oil this morning, Mark.
Yeah, BP still edging lower. Maybe the momentum is slowed a little bit, but still down.
Still down. And then HAL, Halliburton this morning, I mean, a little bit of wild ride. I mean, we moved
Yeah,
from a high here of 30.23 to a low of 29.46. I mean, that is a pretty good move, but right now bouncing back, trading at close to session highs here with 30.13. So let's go. My break even here at 31.70. So let's go. Let's move above the break even again.
yeah, and interesting to see that slide early on in the session, but a nice reversal there. Looks like it's hanging on above 30.
Yeah. KSS Coles again, a little bit all over the place. Yesterday slightly down, today slightly up again, 1.5%. Nothing for me to do there. Merck. Yesterday moving below $100. Right now hanging out at 98.53. Nothing for us to do there. And then we have UPS. UPS this morning up a little bit, and it seems you mentioned it yesterday that after the trend channel kind of was broken, that at least right now we seem to find some support at 130 after the true gap fill, and now it's up from here.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Let's do this. Easy enough. We can do this. All right. So let's see what else happening in the markets. But before we do, it's time for our dad joke of the day. And then we'll go back and look at what the markets are doing right now. So, Mark, what do you have for us today?
You know, with CPI data coming out today, Marcus, I was thinking inflation really is still out of control. When I was a kid, I used to go into a store with $1, come out with a soda, a pack of Big League Chew, a Twix, and a comic book. But these days, they have cameras all over the place.
Okay.
I never did that.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. Well, I mean, talking about anyhow. Okay. No, let me start over. Super easy. No setup. No setup. What do you call it when you get help from a lemon?
What?
Lemonade.
Ah,
Okay.
clever.
Today, a little bit
Okay.
intellectual challenge here, but yeah, okay. You got it. You got it. Okay. So let's see what's happening. So markets right now, if you're looking at the S&P 500 right now, slightly up 0.1%. So we opened higher. We slid a little bit after the open. Right now, trading towards session highs, but again, not making really a dramatic move here. The Dow opened higher this morning. Also, it's very similar. Dipped below 44,000, now trading above 44,000. The Nasdaq still lagging a little bit, and then we have the Russell also, and the Russell trading close to session highs, up 0.7% today. The VIX continues to move lower. Fear has left the building, especially after this, as expected, CPI report. So it seems that, okay, inflation is under control, earnings are out of the way. We know who the next president will be. We know what
Yeah.
the Fed did last week. So, I mean, no more uncertainty. And this is where right now we are trading at lows that we haven't seen, oh my gosh, since late July, I believe.
July. Yep.
There we go. Wow. Crazy. Anyhow, so that's what's going on. However, we have two more important reports coming up tomorrow. We have the PPI data, the producer price index, and then we have retail sales data on Friday that tells us more of how the economy is doing. So still a lot to talk about. And with that said, make sure that you subscribe so this way you get notified whenever we go live. Also, make sure that you like the video if you enjoyed it today, and feel free to share it with anybody who might find this video helpful. With that said, have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Happy trading, everybody.